Why did the union and the league keep it secret? If you've been following what we'd written about this thing, I was getting bits and pieces. I thought that the league was keeping it secret as a favor to the union because the union lost. And the league's trying to set the right atmosphere to get the union to agree to an 18-game regular season, 16 international games, etc. That they're working together with the league doing the union a favor. Nope. Wrong. The league didn't want it out there that it was caught with its hand at the bottom of the cookie jar, crumbs on its shirt, cookie in its mouth, saying, "I don't eat no cookie." The league didn't want that out there. And for two reasons. Number one, the league got caught colluding. And number two, the victory flowed from the implication that the commissioner's powers apparently aren't as expansive as we thought. Because when he told his teams to collude, they didn't. Oh, man. Yeah, they didn't want this out there. They didn't want this out there. And the incidental benefit is keeping it secret. Well, there's two. One, it advanced the union's objective of keeping it secret. I'll talk about that in a second. But also, and this is one of those things where I'm peeling the onion, I'm drilling down, and we're going to get there at some point on PFT. But someone pointed out to me today, because among a group of people who intensely care about these issues, the shit really did hit the fan when this landed. When they read it and understood it and listened to the podcast, they're like, oh my gosh. And people are reaching out to me with different things like, hey, how about this? How about this? Unless the league and the union entered into what's called a tolling agreement as part of this joint mission to keep the collusion grievance secret, it's too late for anyone else to take the partial victory and run with it. And I'll give you the best example, Justin Herbert. His agents see the 61-page ruling. They see the communications between Chargers owner Dean Spanos and Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell, and they say, holy shit, we didn't get a fully guaranteed contract as a result of this collusion that the league encouraged the teams to do, but the teams supposedly didn't. Yeah, right. But under the collective bargaining agreement, non-injury grievances, you got 50 days to file. So to the extent that mid-January, the union became aware of the evidence of collusive attempt, collusive encouragement by the league, it's too late now. Can't file. The 50 days are expired. That's a problem. Unless, and I've asked the union this and the league, they probably won't answer me, but I asked them, unless there's a tolling agreement where they came together and said, we're going to keep this secret, and oh, by the way, we agree that if and when it comes out and any grievances are filed because of it, we will not argue that the 50 days have come and gone. I doubt that one exists, but it's responsible and I think prudent to see. Unless that exists, you could argue that the NFLPA has breached its duty of fair representation to its members. You could argue that the NFLPA management committed malpractice. They may have a significant legal problem here. Beyond that, and this gets to why the union would keep it quiet. Why would you keep it quiet, NFLPA? You won. You proved to the world the thing that we all suspected. D. Smith, the former executive director, called the quarterly annual meetings of the owners, quarterly annual. You know who we mean. The quarterly meetings of annual, let me try it one more time. The quarterly meetings of NFL owners. He called them collusion meetings. We all know what goes on. Just can't prove it. Can't prove it because nobody's going to admit to it. See, Christopher Droney, I hope you watch this. You hit the ball, but it bounced off your foot. Or you hit yourself with the bat. They're always going to lie about this. They're always going to circle the wagons. No one is going to stand up and say, they told us to collude and we did. That's the commonsensical conclusion. I would love to be standing in front of a jury and saying, folks, they want you to believe that the management council that has supreme power over the operation of the 32 teams and constantly tells them what to do and how to do it, told them to collude, and they said, nah, we're not going to. We're not going to. We're fine with fully guaranteed contracts. We're fine with these Deshaun Watson. It makes no sense. And it makes no sense that the union would not shout from the rooftops, we caught them. And we're going to take this and we're going to do something with it. I'm going to find a text message I got earlier today because this sums up what the union should have done if the union was operating in a properly functioning way. Oh my God, so many text messages today. I got to find this thing. Okay, it's on here. It's on here somewhere. I think I found it. Here it is. From a source who has understanding of the way that the union has operated in the past and the way it should be operating now. A properly functioning union would trumpet these findings, as you said. A properly functioning union would make sure every player and agent was informed so they could negotiate better, as you said. And this is where it gets good. A properly functioning union would alert the DOJ Antitrust Division, lobby Congress to investigate, call for Roger Goodell to be investigated and removed, et cetera, et cetera. If only for all the leverage that this would provide. It is just crazy that the union opted to bury it instead. And this is an important point because when you're dealing in a labor environment, when you represent the employees, you have different tools at your disposal. We know that the most important tool from a labor standpoint, work stoppage. There's a huge imbalance there. The owners will gladly shut the league down for a full season. They will take football away from you for a full season without blinking if it helps them get what they want over the long haul. We know the players won't. Now, they're not doing it for you. They're doing it because they only have limited years to play. They want to play football and they want to get paid to play football. So when there's a gross imbalance in the nuclear option of a work stoppage, you have to create leverage through other avenues. If you can create litigation leverage, if you can create political leverage, if you can create any sort of leverage that makes the collars tighter for the people at 345 Park Avenue and makes the commissioner worry that he's in trouble, makes people worry that their ox is going to get gored somehow, some way by Congress, by a prosecutor, by whoever. That's why you don't bury this ruling, you run with it. So the two most plausible reasons for the union burying this. One, new executive director, well, new for 2 years, Lloyd Howell, is trying to sell this idea that basically strength through peace. We're going to negotiate. I'm a business person. I know how to negotiate. We're not going to do the litigation thing. It costs too much. It creates too many hard feelings. The litigation thing isn't our ballgame. And then, they win at this critical piece of litigation. You want to downplay that because that cuts against your whole argument as to why your approach is better. My approach is better. The last approach, they hit a grand slam home run. Well, never mind that. We just won't tell you about it. The other one is, and a lot of this comes from Pablo's reporting, and I'll defer to what he actually said in the event that there may be some minor inaccuracies, but I think I recall this properly. J.C. Tretter was the president of the union at the time all of this was happening with the guaranteed contracts and the grievance being filed, et cetera. The document points out, and Pablo has done separate reporting, and I have too, as to text messages sent by J.C. Tretter disparaging Russell Wilson for agreeing to a contract that wasn't fully guaranteed. He was called a wuss. We were able to nail that down. And then there was another quote along the lines of, he's the guy who could have gotten fully guaranteed contracts for everyone, and he's the guy who blew it for everyone. He's the guy who messed it up for everyone. So Tretter was criticizing Russell Wilson. That made its way into the opinion. The specifics aren't there, but the acknowledgement that there was criticism of Wilson by Tretter made it there. And to the extent that Tretter has designs on being the successor to Lloyd Howell, and this is information that flows from Pablo's reporting, if Tretter thinks that he can parlay being the former president of the union, returning as the chief strategy officer, hired in what seemed to be a quid pro quo because he got Lloyd Howell hired. Then Howell turns around and creates a job that never existed before and hires Tretter for it. Tretter's in a position to ride sidecar to the Lloyd Howell regime. When Howell leaves, Tretter can use the revised Constitution and this new way of picking an executive director in secrecy and silence to become the new ED. So, if it becomes known that you've been saying bad things privately about members of the union, prominent members of the union, that might cut against your broader objective. That's the thinking. But think about that. If this is true, if the union hid this to protect J.C. Tretter and not to advance the interests of the rank and file, we've been hearing about different investigations about some equity thing with one team partners, and I get a migraine anytime I try to understand exactly what that is. This is far simpler. If you had an affirmative effort to cover up and conceal what would have been a major weapon for the union in what should be a never-ending fight with the NFL on every possible front, if that's what happened, all to protect J.C. Tretter and if that's true, that's bad. And it cries out. Look, whatever the reason, the fact that the union did not launch an aggressive campaign through litigation, through Congress, through potential prosecution, through public pressure with this, the fact that they didn't, in and of itself, cries out for multiple forms and facets of investigation. We'll see if players rise up. We'll see if members of the executive committee have questions. We'll see if members of the board of player representatives have questions. We'll see if lawyers get involved. And I don't want to make this bigger than it is, but I want to make damn sure that it isn't dismissed and overlooked. They made it 5 months without the reckoning. The reckoning's here. And that takes me to where it goes from here. It can go in a lot of different directions. It all depends upon how many people understand what it means and can creatively strategize where to take it. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.